Hey, hope you're having a fantastic day. So today, let's start a brand new reading vlog. I've got some really good hopefuls on this, and I'm really hoping I've got really good things on this one, so let's just get into it. How to write a love story. Now this one I picked up from Book of the Month, I think a few months ago. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the perfect summary read. This has our main character whose father has passed away, but he was this huge author with this huge book series, right? Think like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, some type of huge fantasy series, right? Well, he died before it could be published or even written, right? The last book in the series. So in his will, he wrote that he wanted his daughter, who was our main character, to write it. And I think she has written some books or something like that before, but it's not like this type of book. And of course, ending this huge major series that was again, she grew up with the series, and it's a big thing across the world. Everybody knows about this series. And so she's kind of struggling to write it. So the publishing company sends Sam, our other main character, over there. And that's where things kind of ensue from there. I have really high hopes for this. I think it's going to be a cute contemporary romance. It just seems really fun. Of course, it's a book about books, so what couldn't you like about that? But also, I think it's just going to be a different dynamic between the two main characters, because having to work together and then somehow love inspires, obviously, some type of contemporary romance. And it also takes place on a very small island in Ireland, I believe, in the middle of summer. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be the best summer contemporary romance of the year. So I'm really, really hoping that this goes well. But let's move on to the next pick, and that is the first in the Kane Chronicles. This is by Rick Riordan. I still have not finished Percy Jackson, but I didn't realize how many books he did have. And I feel kind of like an idiot for not realizing how many books Rick Riordan had. And I was just like, oh, this is fantastic. It's got an Egyptian background, and so I think it'd be really fun. I think it follows our two main characters, Sadie and Carter. I think that sounds right. And I know they're brother and sister. Something happens to their dad, who's an archaeologist, and he blows up a museum or something, and it ensues from there. And of course, I'm sure they find out they're somehow connected to the Egyptian gods, yada yada yada. That's literally all I know about it. Really don't know a whole lot else other than that, but I think it's going to be fun. Egypt, I feel is always a good place to start. Well, not only all year round, but especially getting into summer because it's hot. I always think of Egypt, and then I think of getting into some of the more fallish days, right? You think more summerine, more fall autumn picks, with the Mummy in mind, things like that. So I think this is going to be also a really good read. And the last one I have on the list, now this is one that has been on my TBR for a little while, and I was waiting until the second book has come out, and I believe it is finally already out. So if I like the first book, I will then go and read the second book. But the book I am super excited to read is Metal Slinger, and I have heard nothing but good things about this, nothing but good things, and that is what scares me the most. And that is why I also waited to wait to read this until the second book is out or almost out, so I could prepare for it, because I know it does end on a major cliffhanger. The bare bones that I know about this is I believe our main character, she is stuck on land, and she was taken away from her people who are out on the sea or something like that. And so she's not able to come into her powers or something of that kind. Well, she ends up getting stolen or taken back, or kind of finding out who she is, and then she goes back out to the water where she gets all her powers, and things kind of ensue from there. Honestly, I don't really know a whole lot about it. I have really high hopes. So if I do like it, I'll probably go immediately straight into the second book, which is Light Wheeler. So again, fingers crossed on that one, but it is one of my most anticipated reads, maybe of the year, but definitely for the last few months, remembering that Light Wheeler is coming out. So I have really, really high hopes. It's supposed to be relatively fast-paced from my understanding, and I know there's supposed to be a really big turn and betrayal or something that happens at the end of the book. I know that for sure, and I know it ends on a major cliffhanger. So that's all I know about it. So I'm really excited to get into it. So let's get right into it, and I'll update you here with my first update in a few minutes. Okay, I'm here for an update. I have officially started a Metal Slinger. It's on Kindle Unlimited, just to let you know. I am utterly shocked. I am astonished how much I am enjoying this book. I mean, I am turning through the pages, my heart's pitter-pattering, I want to know what's happening. I'm really enjoying it. But let me do a little housekeeping first, because I got the story completely wrong. So let me just say, I know in the intro I had said our main character Bryn was cursed to not go on the water. She was taken away. She was only supposed to be on land, and taken away from her people, right? I got that wrong. She is cursed to only be at sea, or like taken away from at like in the sea. She's not allowed to go on land. So I apologize for that. That was my own misunderstanding. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to clarify. But anyway, Bryn, our main character, she has like no memories up until like a certain age, and she like grew up alone. She doesn't have any parents, and she's now like in 18, 19-ish, I think, around this age. And things are maybe not all that they seem. She is currently in like the guard or whatever, so of the Ala or Ana people. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say that completely wrong. But whatever those people are. And they pretty much live a life at sea. They are cursed and like not and like abandoned to like live on sea. They're not allowed to come to the shore at all, except for once a year to go to the market. And pretty much, if you remember the movie Waterworld, where they like build a city on the water, that's pretty much how these people live, right? And they're living out the bare minimum. Even when they are like back home at sea, they're mostly out for excursions and stuff for weeks at a time at the sea, right? So like glorified kind of pirates kind of thing kind of going on, and they do have like a captain who like runs them and like governs them and things like that. But anyway, fast forward to our current happenstance now. Bryn is on her way to the market for the once a year. She is now committed because she's getting ready to like graduate the guard. This is her first time going near land, things like that. Like she cannot wait to go, right? And so we get to this marketplace, and like while like all the higher ups and important people are like doing the trading and things that they need for the island and whatever, Bryn and like a lot of her buddies are going to the market, and they're just trying to like sample different things. They're just trying to like and again, like, it's not on land, it's on the docks there. So they're not actually permitted to still get on land, if that makes sense. But they're really excited to go and just see it and, like, something different, right? Because they hear all these legends of terrible things of these people and things like that. So to kind of put, like, a face to a name, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so she's kind of going around, she ends up getting accused of something she doesn't do. And kind of shit hits the fan. And a lot of things happen. Like, it's a very, very small, like, peace treaty from the Ala to, like, the other people of all the other nations of the world. It's very, very lightly thinned peace treaty. And, like, because of what happened at the market, things kind of exploded. And war is potentially on the horizon here, because they filed against this peace treaty now. They like went against it, right? They caused violence and other things like that. So that's kind of where we're at. But now Bryn is under the, and not necessarily under the influence, but maybe kind of figuring out, who am I? Because you got to remember, Bryn, I don't think I told you this, I'm sorry, let me back that up there. But Bryn doesn't look like all of the other Ala or Ana people, right? Bryn is red-haired, and she's got like different colored eyes, versus all of like the Ala, Ahana people, whatever it's called. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. They all have like light, sandy, brownish, maybe blonde hair, and like grayish eyes or something like that. And so she doesn't look like the people there. And I promise this isn't a spoiler, but it's kind of a question of, well, who is she? What's her heritage? And that's kind of where we're at conspiring now, because things go down. A lot of things are revealed. Somebody and one of her best friends, Kai, I'm not going to say anything else about that. I'm still interested what else is going to go down with him. But it's like I like him, but I'm not going to say anymore. I'm not going to say more. And then in comes Acre. Who is he? Do we know? I don't know. We do, but we like don't. You know what I mean? I don't know. But things kind of occur. Bryn is now off with Acre, off like their, whatever you're calling, like Waterworld Island kind of thing, right? And they've kind of escaped because of certain things. And now lots of questions are being asked. Who is Bryn? What happened to her? Is her memories true? Are her memories not true? What are her memories? And that's kind of where we're at now. And I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. I'm having a great time with it. Like, I am like going through these pages. Like, it's giving me pitter patter. It's pretty fast paced. And I enjoy that. It's not like so fast paced I'm like not getting all the information, right? Or like there's like stuff missing. It's flowing very easily, and I'm enjoying that a lot. I am still just shocked how much I've enjoyed this book. Because I know it's pretty popular, I think a year or two ago when it came out. But I'm like, I didn't realize how good it actually was. Because you never know when like Book Talk books and like other books get so popular so fast. And you're like, but is it that good? Because most of the time, Book Talk books that I end up reading absolutely freaking appall. Like, they're terrible, or they're like so meh. Like, what was the point? And they get overshadowed by much better books from like that are much lower rated. You know, like, why is that rated higher or popular versus this book? Anyway, that's besides the point. But yeah, so that's where I'm at now. I am loving it. I'm having an absolutely fantastic time. I did check. The second book is out. and it's on Kindle Unlimited as well. So if I'm liking this book as much as I am liking it now, which I don't see it going downhill, I think it's only going to give me more questions, and I like that. But I know it ends on a cliffhanger, and I think that's a big reason why I haven't like read it, like knowing going into the waiting until the second book, because I hate being left with a cliffhanger. I just hate it. Like I love it, but like I hate it. You know what I mean? You understand me. You get me. So if I'm liking the first book enough and like I'm left over, I might go ahead and start the second one, and then I'll add that to the vlog too. But we'll see. That's just like a maybe. We'll see how I'm feeling after this. But I'm having really high hopes. I'm really, really enjoying myself. Like this is like not necessarily like a huge piratey inspired book, but it's definitely got some maybe pirate elements. Oh, and one other thing I really like is the magic. Like there's like a little small instance of magic kind of coming into play, but we don't really know all about it yet. Like there's some mention of elementals, and she's got like, there's one scene like with a knife that cracks me up. Like I am actually like laughing out loud here, and it's like, it's really funny, and I like it. But again, lots of questions still that I'm hoping to be answered. Oh, did I even tell you what page I'm on? I am on I'm on chapter 22. I'm on page 167. I'm at 37% of the way through, but I'm enjoying it. I'm really liking it. I'm having a great time. And that's all I gotta say about it. Like I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Like if it doesn't end up being as good as like it's hyping me up to be right now, I'm going to be very disappointed. So we shall see. I'll update you when I'm done with it. Holy shitballs, Batman. What the hell did I just read? You just saw me crashing out. I am still crashing out. The fact that I am now, like, how do I go to sleep? It's currently, like, 11 o'clock at night. Like, I am absolutely, yeah, it's literally 11 o'clock at night. I don't know how I'm supposed to sleep now after that. Holy, I'm literally speechless. That was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. The thing was, I did know there was a big twist at the end, but I did not realize how big of a twist, and I am absolutely stunned. I am stunned. I loved the build-up. I loved the character development. Even though I knew there was going to be a big cliffhanger, I would not have expected this betrayal, and I am still just utterly shocked how it all played out. Like, every time I really thought I knew what was going on, like, or it was getting like almost too calm, like other things would pop up, or it was just like something would happen and you're like, okay, well, when are we gonna get, this is gonna get boring, and then it wouldn't. Like, I am absolutely astonished at how wonderful this book is. I will definitely be reading the next book. I'm adding it to this TBR because I have too many questions. I need to know what happens, because literally that's I've read a lot of books, but that cliffhanger, I'm so glad I waited to read this book until book 2 is out. I'm telling you right now, like, that was so unexpected. How do you go from here? And then in the next book, I think it's like a 4-year time jump. So I'm like, what? Like, what happened? I want to know what happens immediately after that. What do you mean 4 years have gone by? Like, and again, how do you fix what the hell they just broke? Like, what? Excuse my language, but holy cannoli. Okay, like, shit. I am shocked. I am betrayed. I am in love with this book. Like, I am shocked. Beautiful pacing, beautiful characters. Just kind of where you left off also as to like what happened in the story without giving anything away. Remember, like, Bryn was kind of her own trying to figure out all of this stuff, right? Like who she is and things like that. And this whole story, it just kind of gets exposed, and it's just kind of chronicling her like finding things out. I really love the magic and the power in this world, because you have to, in order to gain your power, you have to be on land. And because she and like her people that she's been with have all been like on the water, like Immortal World, they haven't been able to access any of their magic. And I think that it's a really interesting concept how it's all coming together. But of course, things end up happening. It's not really spoiler. She ends up coming into her power, and it's very interesting of what her power becomes. But there's so many things that go down, but I am still in just utter, absolute disbelief as to what just happened. And the betrayal, the absolute betrayal I would never have seen coming, honestly. And like the depths of despair I feel after reading this. Astronomical. I don't know how I'm supposed to sleep for the rest of the night, and I've got to be up early tomorrow. Like, I genuinely want to start the next book, but I feel like that's a terrible idea, because I have to be up early. Oh my gosh! Oh. Anyway, I will try and form a little bit more semblance tomorrow. Maybe I can speak a little more clearly after I'm not crashing out so much. But yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, good night. Okay, it is the next day. I am still feeling a little disheveled. I feel like I look it too. It's currently about 1 o'clock now the next day. I finished, not Lightly Wielder, the Metal Slinger last night around like 11:30ish. And then my husband ended up getting home late around like 12:01ish. And honestly, I would have gone straight into reading the second book last night if I didn't have an appointment this morning. But I finally just got home. I'm relaxed. But I needed to come and talk to you because I feel like I was rambling last night. I was absolutely like flabbergasted. And I feel like I needed to clarify what even happened in the book. Like what was going on. And so let's just talk about it. I've had now several hours to think about it. And so much, like it literally kept me up last night. Like I really got maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep, if that. But like it was like plaguing my mind. Like that's how blasted my flappers were. Like that's the only way to describe it. And yeah, so pretty much just to kind of cap off, because I'm pretty sure I just told you how I was feeling, not anything of what happened. Bryn, our main character, finds out she may or may not be who she believes her to be, and we're kind of just following her along in the storyline, trying to figure out, okay, who is she? What's her storyline? What's going on? What are the peace treaties going to be now? And then like pretty much all the wars that are happening in the world, right? And we kind of get to a certain point in the book where, okay, so like leading up in the beginning part, you're led to believe the story, right? You're believing everything, but there's still like, there's a couple of red flags coming up, right? Like there's mentions of like, it's going too good. And like, it's mentioned like something bad is going to happen. But then like, there's a specific chapter that literally like smacks you across the face and you're like, what? Everything I just read has been a lie. And you're like, but again, it's just like, but was it a lie? And it really has you absolutely reeling as to knowing what the heck is going on. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like, if I did not have an appointment this morning that I had to get up early to go to, I would have started the next book and not given a care if I did not go to bed at a decent time and I ruined my whole next day. Like, I would not have cared, but I had to go to this appointment this morning. I'm just shocked. I am flabbergasted still. I'm enjoying it, and I did go ahead and start into the second one, but I did want to clarify some of the like magical stuff. I really enjoyed this. So in this world, there are lots of elemental and like magical beings. There's like trolls and stuff too. But in order to have your magic, you have to be on land in order to gain access to that magic, right? But because our main character, Bryn, has been off land forever. She's only ever been on the water. Same with all of the other Allah people, right? All of them don't have access to their powers. So that kind of gets thrown into the mix of what's kind of going on, things that are dispersing. And we kind of end the last book on, of course, absolute betrayal, heartbreak, twists and turns, and you're like, yeah! And we're going now into the second book, which I have just started, Light Wielder. It's also on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. And that's kind of where we're starting off. It's now been 4 years, jumped into the time frame. And that's kind of where we're taking it from here. Like full-on war between pretty much all the countries are going out. There's a lot of love, a lot of heartbreak. And we're just really, in these first few chapters, because I'm only like 20 of the way percent in. What chapter am I on? Let's see. Yeah, chapter 15. So I'm not that far into it by any means, but we're really just kind of figuring out what the fallout is, right? We're kind of looking at everybody's emotions, because there was a bit of a, I don't know that I'd call it a love triangle, but like bonds and especially love stuff that was like broken up in the first one, but is it broken up going into the second one? Very questionable. Like you're beginning to wonder about how all these things are occurring, and there's starting to be like little snippets now in the beginning of this one of just like not only of what everything they've been told is true or not, but then also finding out like how everything is starting to connect back together. And I find that really interesting. So I'm enjoying it already. I wouldn't say it's a slower pace, but I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, well, what's going to happen? And I think that's where I'm kind of at now. But I just wanted to give you like what was going on, give you better thoughts of like what was happening in the story, because I think I was just like so beyond whatever last night. Like I could not contain myself. But yeah, I started it. I am enjoying it. I have no regrets going into the second book. I am expecting nothing but good things, and I'm excited for it. But I am still reeling from this last book, but I'm also still just reeling as to like, how do they repair this? Like how do you move on from this? And then all of like the different things starting to come into play of like powers and like the powers that be, also like all of the shifting tides of like who's choosing whose side, and like of course there's a couple different countries, but like who's pairing together to fight against who, and like maybe alliances are starting to change, and I'm like that aspect. But then also the love story kind of in this, you're like, what's gonna happen there? Like I'm invested because like what happened, how do I fix it, but like how do you fix yourself, right? Like, I don't know. I'm wrecked, but in a good way. Does that make sense? But yeah, that's just what I wanted to update you. I promise I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm a little tired. I'm not going to lie, but like I will persist through the rest of this day, because I'm probably going to finish the second book tonight and I have zero regrets. Like it's only 1 o'clock. I think I've got like 5 hours off the book. I can do this. Will it leave me reeling? Probably. But do I care? Not really. Like, break my heart again. Please break my heart, but make me whole so I know the story. You know what I mean? You get me. You understand me, right? We're best friends. But anyway, yep, that's what's going on. I'll update you here in a little bit. My feelings, my thoughts, what's going on, what's happening, and I'll see you then. Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. But let's start with the bad news first, so we can just get that over and done with. I, as you know, started the second book from Metal Slinger, Light Wielder is what it's called, and I'm going to DNF it. I am going to DNF it. I know you're shocked right now, because I am shocked at myself as well, but I am just not enjoying this book. I'm bored, and I think I'm like I think it's like 82% or something. I'm in the way. I think there's only like an hour left in the book for me to read, but I am bored out of my mind, and I am just disappointed with the writing and the way the story has gone. So we're kind of following along. As I told you, it's been 4 years now, right? Since stuff has happened from the first book, and now we're just kind of following along, kind of the aftermath, all of like the pretty much the world war that has occurred. And that's kind of where we are from there. But here's the thing. The back and forth between our two main characters who are in love, kind of not in love kind of thing, the way that's all played out is really, really annoying, I guess is the really good way to explain it. Annoying. But also it's just like this constant push and pull. And it's like, the fact that it's been going on so long, like over 50% of this book has them just been going back and forth, like, oh, I love you, but like you're not admitting it, so I'm not gonna admit it. Oh, I'm gonna do this for you, but then I'm actually not gonna do that. It's just like, it's really annoying because of how long it's going on and happening, and like the way it's done really pisses me off. And like, even there's like certain points where it's just like, this is kind of a spoiler, but like not a spoiler, but like, one of the people kidnaps the other, okay? Like, I get it. If this were dark romance, I wouldn't have any issues with it, right? Like, that's pretty on par with dark romance, right? Like, I feel like this character is trying to be somebody that he is not, and like, they are not, and like, the way they're presenting themselves, and like, I understand it's a bit of a miscommunication thing, but like, the way it's done is so aggravating. Like, literally, if they just sat down and told each other, I love you, we would be done and over this, right? Like, and it's the way it's picking on each other, and they're just like, they're expecting each other to like notice their signs and cues. So, well, that's the way I'm showing I love you, but like, that's not what's happening. So that's really making me mad. But then again, what's really, really making me mad about this whole story is because we know something is going on, right? Like, we know the world is in chaos, things are happening, but we're just focusing on these two characters, right? And we know stuff is happening on the outside because it's kind of like let into the story, right? Like, this is our main point, right? Like, sorry, I'm a visual person. This is our main point, our main character is talking about. We know all the main plot story is happening all around us, right? Like, we know it's happening. It's not a surprise. Stuff is being kind of mentioned, but like not really, so you have no idea what's going on. But again, I'm 80% of the way into this book, and where's the freaking plot? Where is the plot other than like, are they gonna get together or are they not gonna get together? What happened to the plot here? And like, I think that's what I'm just so upset about, because it's like, it's not like it's like sprinkling in stuff as it to be like, oh, it's like this could be a possibility, like into the story of like why it's not being explained. That's not what's happening at all. It's like trying to turn it around to be like, give you a little bit of information, but like not enough for you to even think about piecing stuff together, or like one character knowing what's going on versus like the other character doesn't, you know what I mean? None of that is happening. It's just very poorly written in that sense, and that's really upsetting to me, because again, I really enjoyed the first book so much. Like, I would honestly give the first book a 4.5 stars, like not quite a 5 stars. Again, there's a little bits and pieces of the writing that like I was not okay with, that I was like, meh. Like, the twist was great, but like the way it was done was kind of weird also, but like that was good. How like a lot of other stuff was going on where we kind of knew what was going on, but we didn't, right? Like, the way that was played out did really well. This second book, no, not at all. Very upset. Like, I am bored. I am bored because like there's nothing happening other than like, oh, well, are we together? No, we're not together. I hate you. Like, it's so focused on them, and there's nothing really else happening in the world. And that's kind of disappointing, because the book did start out pretty good. Like, we're getting to know what's going on with all of these characters and like what's happened since then. But I can't do it. I'm just like, I feel like I've been DNFing books more than I ever have in my entire life these last few weeks. And it's really frustrating because I hate giving up on books, but like, I just could not be bothered. I could not be bothered to finish the rest of this book. Like, that's how disappointed I am in this book. And I'm shocked, because I loved the first book so much. Again, not quite a 5 star, but like, I was so excited to like, yeah, let's read it. Like, let's get into the next book. So I can recommend it to people. Again, first book was great, but this second book, I am so disappointed. That's the only way to describe it. I'm disappointed. I'm annoyed. I don't understand what happened with the writing style too. Like, it's just not, it's not good. It's not like the first book. I don't know if it's just because it got so much hype and then she had to like push it out or something. I don't know. Very much lacking with the storyline, with the plot line, like even the relationship. That like, you can't string us along for that long and still be like, what? You know what I mean? Like, the way it, again, it's one thing to be like a slow burn and a build up, but like the way that it was done, it was not done well. And I don't like that. And I don't like it. Okay, I need to stop talking about it, because obviously I'm upset about it. Let's move on. Let's move on, shall we? Let's go on to like our happier, better news. I did start the next book on my TBR of this one. It's called the Red Period, that's what it's called. I was like, it's Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan. But the Red Chronicle, the first book. I am enjoying this so far. I really like Rick Riordan's writing, but like I did not realize, I went down like a whole rabbit hole of like looking up Rick Riordan and like his books. I had no idea. And I know this is, I feel like I'm going to look like an idiot admitting this, but have I been living under a rock? That's what I feel like. He has more than this and Percy Jackson as a series. He's got like several other series. I had no idea. Like, where have I been living? Like, I truly had no idea. I didn't realize that. Like, I knew he had Percy Jackson, of course. Like, that's always a big one. I knew he had some type of Egyptian, which is what I'm currently reading. But I'm just like, what? I had no idea. So if you didn't know that, he has actually got several more series to read. But anyway, moving on. Kane Chronicles, this first book, The Red Pyramid. I'm enjoying it. I like it. I think it's fun. It's adventurous. Again, as an adult, like I would have eaten this up as a kid, but I'm really enjoying this as an adult. I think it's a bit of fresh air. And it's fun and it's inviting. Like it immediately draws you in, and there's not like a lot of fluff to the story, right? But I really think what I love most about Rick Riordan's writing is the way he kind of tackles religion, right? Especially like you don't really care as a kid, but like of course reading it now as an adult, like you get into like the religion and like theological aspects, right? I really like how he doesn't disrespect or like belittle other religions. It's just like, yes, these were gods, they were real people, whether or not it's worship nowadays, but they were real people even in today's world. I love that aspect because I think a lot of people are like, oh, and again, if you're religious or anything like that, like good for you. I like God is great, whatever. Like, I don't care what you're religious or who you believe in God, but I like the way that it's done because you cannot acknowledge that we have a God or Jesus Christ, right? Without acknowledging like there were also other gods that people used to worship for a reason, right? But like the way that's incorporated into today's world, I think people just forget that. Yes, maybe our Lord and Savior is like now our thing, right? But at one point, he wasn't in the story yet, right? And again, believe what you want to believe. Like, I don't care. I don't want to get into any of that stuff, but I love the way Rick Riordan writes into that. And like, he still gives like payment where payment is due, if that makes sense. Which is like, yes, might be other theological things going on, but at the same time, like, these had happened. They're still kind of around. They might not be as big as they used to be, but like magic and fantasy, you know, I really like the way he like pairs it all together. Anyway, let me tell you about the story of like what's happening in these books. So our main characters, these are Carter and Sadie, our two main characters. I think Carter is 14, Sadie is 12, I believe. That sounds right. Something happened. Their mom had passed away like 6 years ago, and they ended up having to split custody. The dad is like a world famous archaeologist who he takes Carter, and he goes around with him and like is homeschooled. Like he's like constantly traveling. He never has a home, but he's like well versed in lots of things, right? Because he's gotten to travel the world. But again, he's living out of a suitcase. So what kind of life is that? Anyway, and then we get to Sadie. Sadie has been living with her grandparents in the UK, and of course she envies Carter because Sadie has only ever been to the UK. She only ever gets to see them twice a year, like once in the summer and once for winter or something like that. And so again, like Carter is jealous of Sadie because Sadie has a home, right? She doesn't have to go anywhere. She doesn't have to worry about it. She can make friends, be a normal kid, things like that. Versus Sadie, of course, is then jealous of Carter because Carter's always with his dad, and she gets to see the world and go to a million different places, things like again, different parallels, right? Things like that happening. And so we're kind of just following along their story. Something happens. They go, and Carter and his dad go to visit Sadie for Christmas. They end up going to a museum because the dad is the archaeologist, right? Something happens, and we're kind of following along. Pretty much they blow up the museum, and they're now finding out, of course, about the world of magic and gods and all of like this Egyptian storytelling, things like that. I don't know like all of the stuff of like what's going on yet because I'm only like, I think I'm just over a quarter of the way through, maybe almost halfway. I can't remember. I bought like the set of the 3 books, so I can't tell what percentage I'm at because it has like all 3 books in one, so it doesn't tell me like how far along I am in the book, just how far I am along in like the 3 books, if that makes sense. But I'm liking it. I really like the way it's like voiced over because it's like Carter and Sadie are like taking turns, but they're like doing their view of like what's happening. And I like that. Like they're kind of like putting jabs at each other as like would normal brother and sister do and things like that. But it's just funny they're retelling like their different viewpoints of each other because Carter is a little bit more like studious, more like archaeology, like prep boy, right? Like that's just what he's kind of been in, right? Like he presents himself really well, and Sadie's kind of like at this age, of course she's 12, she wants to be cool, punk, and like she's got daddy problems, honestly, and like mommy problems. So, you know what I mean? Like the way she presents herself is really different. Like they're different personalities, but we're kind of just following along from there. They're kind of on the run, but they're kind of not. Again, they're in this world just like in Percy Jackson, where Percy Jackson is trying to have them figure out like all these different gods and aspects and magic. It's the same thing going on with Sadie and Carter. And I really like that. I'm enjoying it. It's a bit more fun. It's a bit more upbeat, but not like so fast paced. I don't know what's going on, but you're following along a fun story. And again, like the historical aspects that kind of come into play, and like with the way the gods interact with each other. And I really like it. It's fun. It's engaging. Again, it's a bit of a fresh air. That's the only way to describe it. Like, it's so fun, but I like how it's not so set on, not that I'm against romance. I love romance, right? I love romance fantasy. I love fantasy in romance, but I don't like it being the main plot. But I really like how in this one, like, how it's so ingrained in, like, history stuff, but made into a fantastical element and then in today's world. I think it's really played well together, but just the writing, it's just fun. It's enjoyable. It's not super hard to read, which I know this is considered not even wise, like a middle grade type age book. I think that sounds right. But again, like even as an adult, like I wish I would have read these when I was a kid, because I would have ate these up. I would have absolutely ate these up. But I'm eating them up so much as an adult. I don't know that not to say I wouldn't have enjoyed them more as a kid, but I really enjoyed them now reading as an adult. Because again, they're fun, they're interesting. And something about Egypt, I don't know what it is, but like Egypt, I just think of like summer, and probably because it's always hot and stuff there, but like in my mind, it also just gets me ready for fall, right? I think that's just my mind. I think of mummies, Egyptology, which I don't know, maybe that's a really weird way I like conceptualize like getting into like summer is like, oh, we're so close to fall, like we're like this close, you know, like my soft launch into fall. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like the characters a lot. Carter and Sadie are like kind of different, but like the way they're like kind of finding things out about each other, and like because again, they haven't really seen each other for like the last 6 years, right? They see each other 2 days a year, so they're weird, like I think it's like described as like weird distant cousins rather than like brother or sister. But I'm liking that so far. And again, we're kind of at like this, I wouldn't say necessarily a pivotal point yet in the book, but we're at the point where they're like they're on the run now. They're kind of by themselves and trying to figure out like what happened after that big explosion. Their dad is now gone. They know they're part of some type of magical community from ancient Egyptians, and now they're just trying to figure it out. And like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I'm excited. I'm liking it. Of course, it's like they're young to be experiencing all these things, but again, they're kind of part gods, but they have all this like fantasy or whatever, because again, I don't know like the full story of them, of like what they're going to come out to be. Like they're giving like teensy bits of information, right? But we haven't brought the whole story together, right? Like who they are, who they're related to, things like that. And again, they're learning their mystery as we are, as the reader, learning their mystery, right? Because like, of course, they didn't know anything about themselves because their parents hid it from them, right? And then the big mystery around the mom's death seems to kind of being a big thing, which again, they know nothing about either. But again, I'm sorry I've been yapping your ear off, but I just needed to yap, you know what I mean? We're besties, right? Like we just like to yap. We like these yapceptions. I'm so thankful that you're there to sit there and yap with me and listen to me. You're a real one, okay? You really are. But anyway, I will let you go. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. That's my update so far. I'm still so disappointed about Light Wielder. Like I really am. I really thought that was gonna be like, yes, another book series I can suggest, and oh, this is gonna be great. Honestly, I couldn't be more upset because it was going so good. And I don't know what happened with that second book, but not me for me, dog. But, I mean, Rick Riordan, apparently he's like the man because he's got a bunch of other series. I had no idea. But anyway, I'll let you go. I'll catch you up with you in a few minutes. All right, I'm back for an update. I did go book shopping. I do have a couple of fun books to show you. I am like kind of stoked. I'm not even kind of stoked. I'm really stoked about these books. But the first book, I'm super excited, is a Sarah Beth Durst book. This is, I don't know if it's set in the same spell shop world, but I think it's similar vibes. That is The Faraway Inn. Now look at how beautiful this is. I'm not really one for sprayed edges, okay? But these sprayed edges, like, I can get down with, okay? Like, I can get down with these sprayed edges. I hate just like the plain like red, or like what they're doing with like the Assistant to the Villains ones where it's just like just one color. No. I don't like that. Either go back to like normal, like there's no sprayed edges, or make it really pretty and decorative, okay? Maybe an unpopular opinion, but that's my opinion. Or just don't have sprayed edges at all at paperbacks. That's also something. Like, I'd rather have it on a hardback, not a paperback. Anyway, unpopular opinion, sorry about that. That's a bit of a rant there. But yeah, The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. Now this is one, I think it came out within the last year or so. I'm not exactly sure. But I think it's a YA, and it follows our main character. She goes to help out her great aunt or something like that into this inn, and then finds out it's kind of like in disrepair. So she ends up asking the handyman's son or neighbor's son or something like that to come over and help her, kind of help fix her up, help the great aunt. And things kind of are not adding up all the time in the inn. I think there's some type of course magical element in this. It's a cozy fantasy. Again, super really great vibes in this one. Cozy fantasy. I love Sarah Beth Durst's writing. It's always super magical and like it's immersive, in the way she is able to describe like the entire room and like the magical stuff that happens is so beautiful. So I'm really excited to get into this one. But again, so these sprayed edges, chef's kiss for that one. Next one of my honestly most anticipated reads of the year. I'm so glad I finally got to pick this up because I haven't been able to find it anywhere, and that is Road Trip with a Vampire by Jenna Levine. Now this one is the third in the set of an interconnected standalone series. I think it's third. Yeah, this is the third one, and I have loved the other two. The other one is My Roommate. It's a vampire, and I think that one was like My Plus One is a Vampire, something like that. And I loved both of those first two books, so I'm really excited to get my hands on this one because I think the other two I borrowed from like the Libby app, so to actually have my hands on this one, I'm really excited. And this one is signed. I didn't realize what that when I bought it. Of course, it literally has like the signed sticker on it, but like I wasn't thinking about it, okay? I wasn't thinking about it. I was just excited to find this book, but it is signed. I don't necessarily care that it is or not, but I think it is really cool that like, oh, the author touched this one, right? Like, anyway. This one, it follows our premise as our main character is a witch. Our other main character is a vampire who he doesn't have any like recognition, or he's got really bad amnesia, like he has no idea who he is. And he kind of is sent from one of the other characters from one of the other books to our witch main character. And they're trying to figure out like who he is, who his secrets are. But she also, our main character who is a witch, has like some secrets of her own, and things kind of spill out together. So they end up going on this road trip to kind of figure out who they are, who he is, and things kind of inspired from there. Of course, it's a romance. It's really cute. It's not spicy at all. Like, there is obviously like a little bit of spice, but like maybe one chili pepper, if that at all. But I really enjoy these books. They're always a really fun, enjoyable time, so I'm really excited to get into this one soon. I will be reading this here soon. And then the next one, I literally have never heard of this book before. I just happened to see it when I went to the store, and so I was like, I'm gonna try it. And it is the reimagining of Thornwood House. Now, first of all, check out this cover. Absolutely stunning. It's so beautiful. I love the coloring, very cozy fantasy vibes. I don't know, something about this just struck me, and I think it must have just released because I don't think there was barely any reviews on Goodreads yet, but it just looked really cute. So our main character in this one, she has some type of like magic, like land powers or something, and I think she helps like weather storms and things like that. And so she is like tired of having to fight all the time and like fixing things, and she wants to set down roots. So she takes herself and her, what do you call it? I don't think it's like her daughter, but her adoptive daughter, and she takes them to this like small village, and she ends up owning this magical house. Now this house, when they get there, they end up finding out, oh, the house isn't at the address because the house has legs and it's moved away. So it's like a sentient plant being house kind of thing, right? And it just kind of inspires from there. They're trying to gain the trust of the house back, and they're trying to figure out what's going on in the small town, trying to integrate, and trying to figure out their lives. Again, very cozy fantasy, not super high stakes, but there is some magic in this world. There's a bunch of blurbs on the back of this book. There's a blurb from obviously Sarah Beth Durst, who spelled the spell shop in like The Faraway Inn that I just bought, and then especially Emily Kriplitz. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but she wrote Violet Fistaway is not a villain anymore, which I really enjoyed earlier this year, which is also like a cozy fantasy vibe. So I have really high hopes for this. Again, I don't know a whole lot about it. I've not heard anybody talk about it yet, but I think that's also really fun. But I finally am like grabbing a book that like I haven't seen before or like heard about, and like I'm excited to get into it because again, there's like no premeditated feelings, right, of like how I think I should like this book. So I'm really excited about it. But that is my little mini book haul. I'm really excited to get into these. These are a little bit unexpected. Well, these two I was really looking forward to, but this one is very unexpected. And again, I wasn't expecting to get any more books for a while, but like these caught my eye, and like I'm an adult, I deserve things, so I decided to get myself some books. But anyway, I do have a couple of reading updates. I did finish the first book, The Red Pyramid from King Chronicles, and I enjoyed it. I think it was actually really fun. I am shocked how much I enjoyed that. Like, our main characters, Sadie and Carter, I like their dynamic as a brother and sister. I am an only child, so it's very weird for me to like read about that stuff, because like I remember like growing up, I was always very jealous of my best friend Jessica, because her and her brother were like a year apart, and like the relationship, like I never understood that. And I think how it's like wrote about in books, I think is so interesting. Like the dynamic between the two, I think is also, it's really cool. It's fun. It's like, it's something I wish I had maybe growing up, but also I'm like, I like being an only child, so like I don't regret that. But you know what I mean? It's things like that. I find it's such an interesting dynamic for me to read about, because I don't quite understand it, and like sharing is not a thing for me. But I liked the atmosphere. I love the Egyptology brought into it, and like all the different gods, and there's some magic power was also really interesting. And like the way the plot line really went out. There was quite a bit of action in this book, which I think you get that a lot in Rick Riordan's books. But I really like how it was pinned together, and like what the decision. Hello. Sorry, Dennis creeped me out there. I didn't know he was behind me. I'm sorry, I really got off track there. He kind of scared me. But I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. He just came up behind me even further. Hello. Would you like to come say hi? Would you like to come say hi? Say hi, Dennis. He's like, no, thank you, Mom. Please put me down. But yeah, anyway, I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time. I think it's, honestly, I wish I would have read these books when I was younger. But honestly, as an adult, I feel like I'm enjoying them even more. But again, higher paced. It was really fun. It was just an enjoyable read. I'm very much looking forward to going to like the next few books in the series, because I think there's 3 total in this one. But I really liked like all of the Egypt references and like all the gods involved. I think it's a really, really fun. But anyway, that one's done. That one's over. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I would suggest it to read it as an adult too. I really liked it. But I did get into how to write a love story, and I am really, really loving this so far. I am maybe halfway through. What page am I on? I am on page 187 on chapter 19, and I'm liking it so far. It's super sweet, and it's enjoyable. So far as our main character, so her dad was like a super famous author of this like really high-end fantasy book, right? Or like fantasy series. And he just recently passed away like a year ago, and they wanting to finish out the series and like put an end to it, and he wanted his daughter to write the end of the series. So our main character kind of takes that upon herself. But again, she's like really grieving like the loss of her father, and he didn't like really keep a lot of all the wealth of or anything. He gave it all away, but he left her the house, but the house is in shambles because it's in the middle of an island in like nowhere Ireland, right? And so there's a lot to be done, and she's like kind of running out of money, and that's why she took on this book deal. And she's kind of got this like writer's block is the only way to, I guess, best describe like what's going on with her right now. So they send Sam, who is the part of the publisher from New York, to go over there and kind of help her kind of finish up the writing and like kind of encourage her and things like that. And so that's kind of where it goes from there. Sam ends up going over to Ireland. They meet, and they're kind of in the process of just like trying to figure out the plot. So our main character is the dad. He left like a few notes for our female main character to kind of get through, and like a very short outline, but like there's really not much there. And so she's really struggling to kind of like figure it out. So her and our other main male character, they're kind of just trying to figure it out. They're going to like all the different places and like the inspiration of like where the dad went to get inspiration for the book, of like the medieval cities and things like that, and like a fantastical series. And like also our main male character, he obviously is the publisher for it, but he is also like a super diehard, loves this book series, has a tattoo of it, like, so it's like really close to his heart that he wants to really help her out. But our female main character is having a really hard time. She grew up kind of in the spotlight. She's written all her own book series, but she wrote more thrillers and kind of dipped her toes in horror. And so it's really interesting because she's not really into the fantasy world of writing. And so she's really trying to figure out how to write these scenes, how to write these characters. And she's having a hard time just trying to figure out, like, how do I write like my dad? And I think that things are just kind of inspiring from there. There's a few, like, there hasn't been a touch or kisses or anything yet, because it's going to be obviously a love story in this one. But that's kind of where we're at so far. We're kind of just chronicling how she's feeling, kind of what's going on. It's not like high paced at all. It's not boring whatsoever. We're just kind of seeing like what's going on and like what she's going through, because she is still dealing with a lot of grief with losing her father. But also in this, like, because she lives in the house that her father wrote all the books in, and so it's really, really popular, and like a lot of people want to come onto the property and like get all these pictures, and she's like not okay with that. She thinks it's private property, which it totally is. I totally agree with her, but she gets really upset with all these fans who like want to go and like be where like her dad was, right? And so she gets really upset, and she's like feels unsafe in her home and things like that. And so she's just going through a lot. She's dealing with a lot of grief. She's trying to figure out how to, like, number one, what to do with her life, because she didn't want to come back home to her hometown, but now she's kind of stuck with this house that her father left her, and now she's trying to figure out how to write this book that, like, again, was her father's legacy. She didn't want to like let him down or let all of the world and like these fantasy series down. And so that's just kind of where it goes from there. And I'm interested. I like the dynamic between the two main characters so far. But again, there's not to say there's like not a lot going on right now, but they're just trying to figure it out. And again, I'm like just about the halfway point, maybe just over. And that's kind of as far as it's gone from here. And I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. It's sweet. I feel like it's kind of starting to pick up a little bit more. Again, it's been pretty even tempoed so far. But again, it's enjoyable. It's something fun. It's easy to, the thing is, it's so easy to read and get along. And I like that. It's easy to consume. And I like that. Like, I could have easily finished that last night, but I started to get like late, and I was like, no, I better put it down, because if I didn't, I was going to be up way past my bedtime. And I was like, no, like, let's set it down. But I was really enjoying myself so far. So that's it. That's the update so far. That's all I gotta say. I will see you in a few minutes for the next update. Alright, I am back with some final updates. First, I need you to appreciate that one. Okay, hang on, let me show you. Okay, so it's got enemies to lovers in the front, and it's got like berries and stuff on it, right? Take out the berry short, and then it's got enemies and lovers on the back too. I know, beautiful OOTD, but like berries and berries, it just worked. Anyway, let me talk to you about what I read. I have officially finished How to Write a Love Story, and it was so sweet. I honestly thoroughly enjoyed this book. Would I give it a 5 stars? Maybe. I'm like at maybe like a 4.5 stars, almost 5 star. I'd have to really think about it some more. But I think it was a really, really sweet, just cute love story, and just like the way it flowed was so easy to read, and it was just a fun time. Like, it wasn't super high paced, but I really enjoyed just the storytelling of like our main character who's going through grief because of her father. But I really, really like how it also put more of it, obviously there was some romance in it, but it wasn't until like well over the halfway mark where you got romance or any type of anything going on, right? And I think honestly I really liked that. I wasn't like a straight to the point, like, oh my gosh, like they're together within the first 10 pages, right? Like, as much as those are fun sometimes, but like I think in the story, the way it just worked out so well, it was just done so beautifully, and it's so easy to read and easy to get into, and I think that's what I like so much. But again, like, we were just chronicling her trying to like write her dad's book, and like all of the aspects behind that, right? And like how she's like more of like a crime writer and like thriller writer, and how she's like trying to figure out, like, a big part of this was obviously like the love aspect of it, because it's like 2 characters that her dad had like made in like his big series, right? It was supposed to be like the culmination of like they have to have like a sex scene in it, like it's necessary. And she's like, well, I've never wrote that before, how do I do that? And like that's where love kind of sparks from there, I feel like. But just the way it all builds up, and I feel like the way the characters interact with each other is super interesting. But I really like, number one, how the town and the small community of like in the Irish island for her, our female main character, how they love and protect her. I think that's so beautiful, and like to keep her away from like all the like crazy super fans, right? And just the way that the whole story came about, I think it was just so sweet. And I liked them together as a couple too, obviously, because like it's a romance in here, things happen, but it's just the way it's done. I think it was just so beautifully written. I enjoyed it immensely, and honestly I would highly suggest it. This is definitely a summer book. It happens in a heat wave during the summer, in Ireland off the small coast. So I definitely would say this is for sure an easy summer read, easy summer pick. Definitely pick this up if you can this summer. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't stop recommending it, honestly. After I read this, like, I would reread this again. That's how much I enjoyed that, and I think that's the mark of a great book, honestly, when you could say you would reread it again. So that's all I gotta say about that one. What else did I read in this vlog? I don't remember. The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan. Loved that. I think that one was just so great. Again, Egypt inspired two kids. There's a brother and a sister who were like living apart because the dad, something goes wrong, and they go on this adventure finding out like who they are. They're kind of like god-like beings related to the gods in some shape or form, right, like in a regular Rick Riordan book, and things that go from there. But it's like an Egyptology setting, and I liked it. I really liked the aspect of the brother and sister. Again, as an only child, like I never had that growing up, so I always find that dynamic so interesting and like how that worked, right? Because I think they're just 2 years apart. I think it's Carter was 14, Sadie was 12, I believe. So I think that was the age gap. But again, sibling dynamics I always find super interesting, right? Especially like closer siblings, right? I find that so interesting because like I never had that, so I don't understand how that stuff works. But I'm like, oh, interesting, like how like they can be so mean to each other, but at the same time like they love each other and they like kill for each other. I find that so interesting. But anyway, I really enjoyed the book. I think it was relatively fast-paced, but again, it's an easy read. Rick Riordan's writing, it's easy to understand. You know what's going on. I really liked the point of view from the characters, from like the way they were telling the story. It wasn't just like written, it was like they're re-recording all of it, so it like go from Sadie's point of view to Carter's point of view and like back and forth, and like some other instances where they were like butt in during the recordings like on the page. Like it was really cute. I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it. Again, as an adult, I loved it, and I think this is more of like a middle-aged young adult reading, but again, I enjoyed it as an adult, and I would read it as an adult. I also think it's just great as a summer read too, with Egyptology, and I think it does technically take place during winter, but like I don't know. I think it worked out with the Egyptology stuff. So anyway, that's all I have to feel about it or say about it. Metal Slinger. I enjoyed Metal Slinger, right? We had a good time. You know what happened. We talked about this. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But then going into Light Wielder, I don't know what happened. I have since kind of looked up some other reviews because I was trying to go into it like really blind since I had read it so quickly. But I am glad I'm not the only one feeling this way about Light Wielder. I think it is like a 50-50 split. Half the people love what happened in it. The other half of the people hated how it went with it. And that's how I am. Like I am on the half where I'm like, what happened? What happened to this writing? Like, why did the story devolve this way? And like literally nothing happened. I literally feel like nothing really happened. Honestly, like, that's, I don't know. And granted, I did DNF at like 82%. Maybe something did happen the last hour I had left from the book. But really, I'm like, was it going to blow my mind? Was it going to change my life? Honestly, I don't think so. Because I was bored the entire time, literally leading up to it, except for like the first 2 chapters. Because you're excited. You're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? What's happening? Especially with the 4-year time jump between Metal Slinger and Light Wielder. I don't know, man. I am still unsure how I feel about that because I really enjoyed Metal Slinger. Like, it was in the way, like, it twisted. Like, again, not a 5-star book, maybe 4.25, 4.5. But again, super good. I really enjoyed it. But going into Light Wielder, like, I think that's where it all fell apart. So I don't know that I would suggest to read it. At least read Metal Slinger, but then you're going to be left in a huge, like, cliffhanger going into, unless you read Light Wielder. But again, I feel like a lot of people have mixed feelings from what I'm seeing, too, on Goodreads and, like, from what I'm hearing from other creators, too. So I'm glad I'm, like, not the only one who's in that opinion, but honestly, I don't know. Mixed feelings about it. I don't know I'm going to go back. I don't really want to waste my time going back to a book that, like, I didn't like beforehand and then I have to read again. You know what I mean? Like, there's too many other books in my TBR and other books that I could enjoy to go from there, right? So, I don't know. That's all I gotta say about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore because it kind of makes me upset with how it went. But thus is life, okay? Thus is life. Anyway, I hope you had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time reading these books with you. I'm glad you were along for the ride with me. And with that, I will see you on the next one. Happy reading!